Day 1 of my live stream, I built a Gatling gun with my bare hands. It loaded real ammo and could shoot birds. That same day, I was dragged straight into the police station. Day 2, I crafted storm pear blossom needles by hand. The officers invited me back for another little chat. By day 3, I finally learned my lesson, so I switched to live streaming art. But the dollar bills I drew actually passed a counterfeit detector. I was locked in a holding cell on the spot. 3 days. 3 arrests. I went viral overnight. The viewers remembered my face, and even Longwa officials put me on their watch list. Then I handmade a so-called durable rope. The military called it an aircraft carrier arresting cable. I made a fishing rod just to catch fish. The Academy of Agricultural Sciences called it advanced carbon fiber. I finally made an anime fursuit head, and the military called it wilderness combat gear. Everything was confiscated by the state. In a fit of rage, I just let loose. Space yachts, quantum starships, whatever they wanted, I'd build it. Right now, in the interrogation room, I'm looking at Captain Lee Gensha's gloomy face. I'm keeping my head down, admitting my mistakes. Captain Lee, I really didn't do it on purpose. I'm just a crafting streamer. My followers said they wanted to see a handmade Gatling gun, so I gave it a shot. I didn't expect it to actually work. This was a total accident.
Lee Gensha snurta coldly.
A shot. And it looks exactly like a real gun? Do you think I'm an idiot? Spit it out. Where did you learn this gun-making technology? Hearing this, I felt anxious and wronged. Captain Lee, I'm just naturally quick with my hands. Once I get one mechanical thing, I can figure out the rest. I wouldn't dare lie to you. Lee Genshi remained silent for a moment. He flipped through the background check report in his hand. He checked his watch. For hours since the questioning began. And he couldn't find a single flaw in the story. Could this kid actually be a mindless genius? With that thought, Lee Genshi let out a soft sigh. All right, the investigation is clear. You can go home. But stop making thermal weapons on your stream. Next time won't be this simple. I nodded repeatedly. I beat my chest and promised. Don't worry, sir. My mom taught me to be a useful member of society since I was a kid. I would never do anything illegal. Lee Genshi waved his hand impatiently. Yeah. You'd better mean it. As for that Gatling gun, it stays here at the station. Now get out. Hearing that, my face immediately fell. I took 8,000 yuan from my top donor for that thing. Now that it's gone, how am I supposed to explain this? But even if I had 10 times the courage, I wouldn't dare ask the police for it back. After all that chaos, it was dark by the time I got home. I opened my phone and found my inbox overflowing. Everyone was asking if I'd been released. My heart warmed up. There are still many good people in this world. But then, I scrolled onto a clip of me being arrested. It was captioned, "Shocking. Sensational. Crafting streamer commits crime." Crafting streamer is actually a criminal. It had over 50,000 likes, more than my actual follower count. Hey, there aren't many good people, just dogs. I put down my phone. I let out a deep sigh. I already took the 8,000 yuan payment. Once the money's in the pocket, there's no such thing as a refund. I thought about it for a while, and suddenly had an idea. If all else fails, I'll make a paper one for the big boss. As long as the quality is good enough, he won't have anything to complain about. Early the next morning, I went to the supermarket at the village entrance. Aunt Wong, do you have any craft paper? Give me a whole box. Aunt Wong, who was scrolling on her phone, looked up. Oh, you're all right then? I was thinking of stopping by to see if you'd returned. Hearing this, my lip twitched. I rubbed my nose and said awkwardly, "It was all a misunderstanding. Everything's fine now. When is Brother Kai coming back?" While Aunt Wong went to the warehouse for the paper, she muttered, "Who knows what that brat is busy with? He can't even make a single phone call." I nodded, successfully diverting the conversation. Aunt Wong's house was right across from mine. His son, Gu Kai, is 3 years older than me. He's a top student and very obedient. In my mother's words, he's a completely different species from me. I heard he's doing quite well working in the capital. After returning home, I set up my phone, started recording, and officially got to work, handcrafting a paper Gatling gun. With yesterday's experience, today went much smoother. First, I took 6 bearings from fidget spinners, then made heat sinks using glue to seal steel disguised as paper and welding disguised as glue. Before long, the hardest part was finished. Next, I disassembled a drill, removed the bit, and fitted the trigger into the grip. I soldered the wires and installed the handle, barrel, and magazine. Finally, I painted the whole thing black, and the paper Gatling gun was complete. I loaded a few bullets, pulled the trigger, and it immediately started firing rat-tat-tat. I took a few photos and sent them to my top donor. He replied quickly, "You're amazing, streamer. This thing is way too cool. The look is just as good as yesterday's. Ship it out quickly, otherwise I'm afraid it'll be confiscated again." I didn't dare delay upon seeing the message, and immediately contacted the courier to send it. Then, I did a quick edit of the crafting video and uploaded it. Meanwhile, at the North Province Police Station, Officer Zhao Zijing, was staring wide-eyed at the video I just posted. He was the one who discovered my Gatling gun stream yesterday. He thought he had me for sure. Unexpectedly, nothing came of it. He felt incredibly frustrated. Whenever he had a free moment, he monitored my account. When he saw me making a Gatling gun out of paper, he immediately ran to Li Jianxi with his phone. Li Jianxi glanced at the video, frowned slightly, waved his hand, and said, "Forget it. As long as it's not a real weapon, just let him be." Li Jianxi was currently stressed out. A robbery had occurred in their jurisdiction last night, and the victim was a researcher from the Aviation Institute, responsible for the development of aircraft carrier arresting gear. The higher-ups were furious. A special task force was sent to help solve the case. If the culprit isn't caught within a week, his career is likely over. He had no energy left for these trivial matters. Evening arrived in the blink of an eye. Since today's video got great traffic, I started another live stream. Remembering Captain Lee's words from yesterday, I spoke up. "My lovely ladies, my dear followers, yesterday's handmade Gatling gun. The authorities won't let me make those kinds of items anymore. So today, I'll handcraft for you the rainflower needle." Those words were like water hitting a hot oil pan. And here we go. The chat exploded. "Streamer, you're truly insane. Epic. Can't wait for this. Are you serious, streamer? Isn't that something from a novel?" "Exactly, bro. Don't start acting crazy just because you got some views. Those above have some faith in Brother Yi. He's even been to the station, which means his skills are the real deal." "Yeah. Streamer, show us now." Unhurriedly, I laid out the prepared iron and copper sheets and tubing on the table. As I spoke, I began making the fan blades, lotus petals, and the main shaft, the handle, and other components. I installed 24 launch ports at the top, placed the needle magazine inside the handle, and even designed an automatic reloading mechanism. Once the first batch of silver needles is fired, the automatic reload enables rapid fire. Soon, an exquisite rainflower needle was complete. Waving the finished product, I smiled. "My dear followers, from now on, please call me the sect leader of the Tang clan." The viewers in the chat were completely stunned. Holy crap, the streamer actually has the skills. This is way too absurd. Honestly, did you travel from another world? Fire one off and show us. Yes, give us a shot. I struck a cool pose. No problem, that is exactly my intention. With that, I took the rainflower needle to the yard, placed a wooden board 10 meters away, and triggered the mechanism with a flourish. Instantly, 24 silver needles fired simultaneously, pinning the wooden board firmly. The chat erupted in screams of amazement. "My God, he's for real."
I'm absolutely dazzled.
"Oh, great sect leader of the Tang clan, please accept my humble bow." Gift effects instantly flooded the screen. Audience, I couldn't stop grinning. Audience, bosses, a small gesture is enough. Just as I was starting, suddenly, urgent knocking at the door interrupted everything. I walked to the door, looking annoyed. Coming, stop knocking, you'll break the door." But the moment I opened the door, 2 cops burst in. Without a word, they pinned me against the wall. "Wait, what? What's going on?" I turned my head and saw it was Zhao Zijing. "You brat, I just warned you yesterday. Now you're doing rainstorm today, pear blossom needles. You just won't learn, will you?" I looked completely aggrieved, crying out that I was innocent. Captain Lee said no thermal weapons. I didn't make any. No weapons of any kind. Hurry up, take the evidence and come with us. Zhao, whatever. This happened so suddenly. The stream's popularity spiked again. Host is legendary. Back in the slammer so soon? The host is definitely being watched. Otherwise, how could they arrive so fast? I didn't expect the Tang clan leader to leave like this. Congrats to the host. 3 meals of prison food a day. At that moment, Zhao Zijing let me go. I rushed to my phone. "Babes, wait for me to come back." With that, I shut down the stream. Holding the pear blossom needles, I obediently got in the car. Inside the police station, I shrunk my shoulders like a frightened quail, explaining, "Officer, I just wanted to make something fun to attract followers. I thought this was a fictional weapon. I didn't know that I couldn't make it either. Yesterday, Captain Lee only said no guns. He didn't say this was forbidden. So according to you, it's our fault?" No, absolutely not." Zhao Zijing snorted coldly. Just then, a staff member brought the test report. He took one look. His face instantly darkened. "This thing is a lethal weapon. It's almost as powerful as an old pistol. What kind of crafting streamer can make this?" Zhao Zijing began to doubt the previous investigation. "Come clean. What did you do before becoming a blogger?" Nothing. I just graduated this year. I've been a student until now. That's not right, you studied mechanical engineering. Normally, you wouldn't lack job offers. Why are you doing this? Hearing this, I immediately got fired up. Buddy, you must have entered the system right after graduation. You've never had to job hunt, right? Where is there any normal hiring these days? Says 6,000, but after the interview, it drops to 3,000. And they still want performance metrics. The most ridiculous part is, I spent 2 hours commuting to an interview, and the HR actually asked if I was working just for the money. Finally having a chance to vent, I got more and more passionate, until I was interrupted. Stop. I get it. Don't touch this stuff ever again. This is your final warning. Sign here and you can leave. I was forced to sign. I wanted to get my pear blossom needles back. Zhao Zijing saw through my thoughts. He waved his hand and said, forget about the gear. It's too dangerous. Can't stay in your hands. And just like that, my second creation was confiscated again. At that moment, Li Jianxi rushed back. He paused when he saw me. You brat, you were just here yesterday. And here you are again today. Before I could speak, Zhao Zijing gave a brief report on the situation. After listening, Li Jianxi said seriously, be more careful from now on. Now get out of here. After saying that, he left in a hurry. He seemed very busy. I didn't think much of it. I rushed home, feeling somewhat helpless. But luckily, I went viral because of it. A blessing in disguise. I happily posted an update, saying tomorrow's stream would proceed as normal. Then I lay on the sofa scrolling through my phone, completely unaware that danger was quietly approaching. Meanwhile, on a national highway in the suburbs of North Province, a scene straight out of Fast and Furious was unfolding. Several police cars were chasing a beat-up van. But even though the bandits floored the accelerator, the police cars behind were getting closer and closer. Seeing this, the bandit made a desperate decision. He drove the car straight into a nearby residential area. Then he ditched the van. After running for a while, he leaped right into someone's courtyard. There was nowhere left to run now. His only choice was to try and hide. At the same time, I heard the wail of police sirens. By the sound of it, there were at least 3 cars. I wondered what kind of thief it was to warrant such a massive police deployment. I continued scrolling through my phone nonchalantly, but something felt increasingly off. Why did the sirens sound like they were getting closer? I suddenly jolted. Could it be they changed their minds and came back for me? I hurried up to check outside. Just as I opened the door, a knife was pressed against my throat. Don't make a sound, or I'll slaughter you. I obediently raised my hands. Tell the people outside. Tell them not to come in. Quickly complied. The officers preparing to storm in stopped dead in their tracks. One gritted his teeth. Listen up, person inside. You are surrounded. Surrender now, and we'll show you leniency. A flash of cruelty crossed the bandit's face. Do you take me for a fool? Surrendering is a death sentence. Listen up, you bastards. I have a hostage. Get me a car right now. To get me out of here safely, or I'll kill them right now. Outside, Li Jianxi's expression turned cold. He commanded his team in a steady voice. Prepare a car as he requested. And get the sniper in position. I wasn't just idling either. I was constantly thinking of a way to save myself. Right now, I still had some leverage. But once I was in that car, I'd have to rely on the bandit's conscience. But he's a criminal. Conscience. Heh. Shortly after, a shout came from outside again. The police had the car ready. I glanced at the arm tightening around my neck. Just as the bandit was pushing me toward the door, my eyes narrowed. My right hand, gripping his arm, pinched his pressure point with pinpoint accuracy. The bandit let out a howl and released his grip. Before he could react, I grabbed his other wrist and twisted it hard. His arm popped right out of the socket. Outside, Li Jianxi and the others heard the scream. Panicking, they immediately ordered men to scale the wall and move in. Unfazed, I kept twisting the criminal's arm and reached for the steel cable by the door, the one I'd bought from the system for hauling cargo. I tied the bandit up like a cocoon. Veins bulged on the bandit's forehead. You damn cheat. No honor. You actually hit my pressure point. You coward. Do you dare fight me properly? Haha, are you joking? Coward? You're the one who kidnapped me in secret. As I finished speaking, 7 or 8 officers leaped over the wall. They instantly took control of the scene with guns drawn. Just as they were ready to confront the criminal, they saw him tied up like a worm, struggling on the ground. They looked at each other, faces full of shock. At that moment, Li Jianxi kicked open the door and walked in. I smiled and greeted him. What a coincidence. Captain Li, we meet again. Li Jianxi relaxed first, then looked at the bandit, then back at me. He exclaimed, what on earth happened here? I've tied him up for you. Didn't realize you had these skills. He waved to his team, ordering them to take the bandit away. The bandit glared at me with malice, gritting his teeth. If I ever get out, I'll fucking kill you. Threatening me right in front of the police? You've got some nerve. Absolutely lawless. Captain Lee, make sure you grill him properly. He has zero respect for you guys. Li Jianxi waved his hand, telling the team to hurry up and load him into the car. Then he looked at me. Looks like you'll have to come with us again. Don't worry. I'll make sure you get some tea this time. Once the statement is done, I'll have someone drive you back. At the police station, Li Jianxi had the bandit taken to the interrogation room and went in to question him. My statement was taken very quickly. It was mostly just a recap of what happened. When Zhao Zijing heard I pinched the bandit's pressure point, he almost lost it. Not bad. I didn't know you were so brave and cunning. Alright, I'll drive you back in a bit. Thinking that I wasn't a suspect this time, I plucked up the courage to ask a few more questions. I'd like to know more about that criminal. What exactly did he do? He won't be getting out anytime soon, right? I'm actually worried he might retaliate. Don't worry, he's not getting out. Hearing this, Zhao Zijing patted my shoulder. This guy committed a murder a couple of days ago. The victim was a research scientist. He'll definitely get a heavy sentence. Come on, I'll walk you back. I shuddered. Good grief, he's actually a killer. Just as the two of us reached the lobby entrance, a police officer rushed over and stopped me. We can't untie the rope. Come and give us a hand. I waved my hand nonchalantly and said, hey, if you can't untie it, just cut it. I don't want the rope anymore. We can't cut it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come specifically to find you. Captain Lee and the others are waiting for the interrogation, but the rope just won't budge. Hurry back and take care of it. Hearing this, I suddenly remembered that steel wire rope. Back when I was hauling cargo, I had it woven from specially refined steel wire. When I tied up the bandit to prevent him from breaking free, I tied it in a dead knot. At that thought, my heart skipped a beat. Oh boy, this is bad. Inside the interrogation room, Li Jianxi was furiously struggling with the rope. Seeing me enter with the young officer, he snapped, just how afraid were you that he'd escape? To actually use a rope made of steel wire. Now hurry up and get it off him. I smiled and quickly stepped forward, untying the rope that had stumped everyone in a few quick moves. Sorry about that, Captain Lee. It's a custom knot I created. Most people find it nearly impossible to untie. Alright. Just get going. Stop messing around with those gadgets of yours. I nodded repeatedly. Once home, I crashed immediately. I didn't wake up until 2 p.m. the next day. I opened my phone and found that, after yesterday's storm, the views for the Pear Blossom Needle video had hit 3 million. I scrolled through my phone, feeling smug. So this is what it feels like to go viral. Not bad at all. Then, suddenly, something occurred to me. I hurriedly whispered in my mind, System Daddy, what kind of rope did I use yesterday? It is the ultra-strong, tough rope. The optimal choice for binding people, hauling cargo, or hanging. Hearing this, I silently pinched the bridge of my nose. This is exactly why I dislike using this system. It always feels a bit inappropriate. I shook my head and bought another rope from the system. Observing it closely, I found that the materials and weaving techniques used were quite extraordinary. Back then, for hauling cargo, I had just bought a bunch from the mall. After using them, I left them to gather dust by the door. I didn't expect they couldn't even cut it with a knife yesterday. Seems like it's actually high-quality stuff. I'll study it properly when I'm free tonight. Then, I set up my phone to start live streaming. I couldn't let this kind of traffic go to waste. Sure enough, as soon as I went live, the number of viewers had doubled since yesterday. Oh, the sect leader of Tang Clan is here. Host, what handmade project are you planning today? Should I call 911 for you in advance? Seeing the viewers teasing, I rubbed my chin and said, Listen guys, the stuff I made a few days ago was too dangerous. The officers told me to take it easy. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I can't afford to do that again. Upon hearing this, everyone in the chat laughed and said, What are you afraid of, host? Just go for it. I heard the police station is full of talents. It's a great place to find a master. The host can't dance, so try singing, dancing, calligraphy, or painting. Just do whatever you're good at. Right. I want to see some painting. Usually, people good at crafts are decent at painting too. What a piece of trash. Calling himself the strongest craft blogger? He doesn't know jack. If you've got the skill, try crafting some money. Just as everyone was teasing, a discordant comment suddenly popped up. Who is this guy above? Isn't he just looking for trouble? The viewers weren't wrong. This person was indeed here to cause trouble. His name was Chu Sheng. He had a bit of money at home, and with nothing to do all day, he loved playing judge on the internet. He believed everyone except himself was trash, especially when he saw the slogan in my livestream, "Can craft anything?" Chu Shang became even more energized. "Speak up. Didn't you claim you could craft anything? What's wrong? Can't handle this one?" I looked at the comments and chuckled. Fine. A man never says I can't. But what happens if I actually pull it off? If you can do it, I'll tip you 2 spaceships. But if you fail, tear down your sign and publicly admit your skills are trash. Deal. I'm in. In the stream, everyone saw I'd been baited. Don't do it. Everyone saw he was baited. Don't do it. They're so frustrated. Don't do it. They're so frustrated. Don't do it. Don't do it. This streamer is an idiot. I've seen this Chu Shang in several other streams. This guy is the ultimate troll. Why are you even arguing with him? Sai, this guy is finished. I'm out of here. I ignored the crowd's frustration. I found some paints and watercolors in the corner. Then I pulled a $100 bill from my pocket and started drawing, using it as a reference, from size to color, then to the texture. I even used a magnifying glass when needed, as the outlines became clearer under my pen. The viewers started shouting in shock. Holy crap. Bro, are you for real? This is freaking handcrafting money? Man, now I'm actually excited. I calmly worked on the details, slowly adding the colors. Soon, a bill that looked identical to a Chinese banknote appeared before everyone's eyes. I thought about it. Then I took out my paper and pen again. The viewers were confused. Why is he starting over? Is he drawing the back? But the front was already perfect. This guy is way too meticulous. But as they watched, they noticed something off. It's actually a US dollar. Seeing the shock in the comments, I stopped and explained helplessly, "Guys, it's not that I don't want to draw Chinese currency. I'm just afraid that if I finish it, the cops will invite me for tea at the station. Then I'm totally screwed." Anyway, back to my handcrafting project. From color mixing to texture and anti-counterfeiting details, I planned to stop there. But remembering that Chu Shang is the ultimate troll, to make sure he couldn't find a single flaw, I added some optically variable ink. And finally, a portrait security feature. Did this guy just use color shifting ink? Drawing it this realistically? Is he insane? I have a bad feeling about this. The comments kept flooding in, but I was immersed in my creation, totally oblivious to everything. After more than 2 hours, a lifelike US dollar was finally complete. The stream was filled with insane and 666. Holy cow. This looks indistinguishable from the real thing. Bro, why don't you start a side hustle? I feel like there's a huge future in this. Wait, where's Chu Shang? Come out and take your L. As the cheers grew louder, Chu Shang couldn't play dead anymore, but if he admitted defeat that easily, he wouldn't be a troll anymore. He thought for a moment, and sent another comment. I meant money. The kind that can pass a bill detector. The kind that can pass a detector. Chu Shang, come out and take your L. I could just find any art student. Chu Shang, come out and take your L. Xiao Guan, I could just find any art student. Xiao Guan, truly the ultimate troll. He can argue about anything.
I'm freaking impressed.
Honestly, I want to see Yi try it. I'm not trolling. I just think Yi's art is too good. You guys just love the chaos. If it actually passes, Yi is going to jail. But I still want to see him try. Watching the chatter in the comments, I felt tempted to. Fine. As a streamer who loves his fans, I must satisfy my bro's requests. Come on, I'll take you to the supermarket. I took the drawn dollar to the village store. I just wonder if Auntie Wang's machine will accept it. Arriving at the store, Auntie Wang was watching a show on her computer. Seeing me with my phone, she smiled. Sui, doing that live stream again? Auntie Wang, does your machine take US dollars? Let me borrow your machine for a sec. US dollars? Sure. I bought this money detector on Pinduoduo. It's supposed to work for several different currencies. That's great. Alright guys, here we go. He pointed the camera at the money detector. Then he slid the US dollar into the slot. In the livestream room, everyone was waiting for the alarm to go off. But the bill zipped right through. The machine didn't stutter for a second, nor did it make any alarm sound. For a moment, not only was the whole chat stunned, but I was stunned too. Holy crap, what's going on? I picked up the dollar and tested it a few more times. Every single time, zip, passed smoothly. Aunt Wang saw me testing it repeatedly, looking completely puzzled. So Yi, is there something wrong with your money? Why are you testing it so many times? Couldn't believe it. I tested it one last time. Still no issues. Aunt Wang, are you sure this machine is working properly? You brat. This machine is a brand name. I've only had it for a few months. There's no way it's broken. Hearing that, I felt like crying but had no tears.
I'm screwed. Aunt Wang.
Passed the detector before. Now you're acting all weird again. If it didn't pass, it would be fake. What, are you trying to make fakes to scam people? The viewers in the chat were completely convinced. If that dollar hadn't been under the camera the whole time, I'd suspect the streamer secretly swapped it for a real one. It's over, streamer, you're in big trouble. It's over, and I started to panic too. I was getting nervous. Just as I was wondering how to explain this, the live stream suddenly went black. I was forced offline. The stream was terminated. What's wrong, Sui? Aunt Wong, I'm finished. I drew this money. Oh, Auntie. I didn't realize you had this kind of talent. Our Su-Yi has really made something of himself. You'll definitely become a great artist. Aunt Wong's eyes were full of admiration for my achievement. I sighed softly and left the supermarket. Just as I stepped out, I saw Zhao Zijing marching toward me aggressively. Can't you just stay out of trouble for once? Every day you find a new way to cause chaos. Walk by yourself. Am I still going home this time? I can't say for sure. Inside the familiar interrogation room, Li Jianxi looked dead serious. Not bad, you've certainly grown some skills. Manufacturing illegal firearms wasn't enough? Now you've moved on to counterfeiting currency? You won't be satisfied until you've eaten the prison food. Huh? Captain Li, none of that is true. I really just drew a picture. I just used some random paper. Who would have thought it would actually pass the detector? Look at what you've done. 3 times in 3 days of streaming. No, I think you shouldn't go home today. Otherwise, you'll just be back tomorrow. Save us the trouble. Suddenly, something occurred to me. Captain Li. Could it be that the money detector was faulty? No sooner had I spoken than Li Jianxi said they'd already tried other machines. It has nothing to do with the machine. Hearing this, I hung my head, looking completely defeated. How on earth did a drawing pass the test? Could it be that the U.S. anti-counterfeiting tech isn't that great? Li Jianxi was almost laughing from sheer frustration. Finally, he helplessly pulled out a form. All right, fill out this information. Just a registration at the office. I won't care what you do after this. I nodded vigorously, quickly agreeing. I filled out the form very cooperatively. Once the paperwork was finished, Li Jianxi put the files away and waved me off. Leave the drawing, you can go. I sighed silently. 3 days worth of work, and I couldn't keep any of it. In the office, Li Jianxi looked at the dollar and smiled. As long as this kid doesn't go down the wrong path, he'll definitely achieve great things. Exactly. I've never seen anyone who could draw money like this. The key is that it actually passes the detector. Captain, what should we do with this money? Li Jianxi placed the dollar on the desk. I've already reported it to the bureau chief. I'll take it over in a bit. While they were talking, an officer suddenly rushed in. Captain Li, the people from the research institute are here. Hearing this, Li Jianxi immediately stood up. He took a file from the cabinet behind him and strode toward the reception room. A middle-aged man was waiting inside. Seeing Li Jianxi arrive, he stood up and said, Captain Li, I'm Shen Jingyan from the Research Institute. I'm here to examine that case and to bring back the remains of my late colleague. Based on our current investigation, this person was paid by someone else to target the researchers at your institute. The money came from someone domestic, but their superior is extremely cautious. We suspect it's a foreign entity. To think they dare to commit violence in our Longua and use our own people to do it. Traitors like that always exist. We will hunt down every single one of them. Then I'll leave the rest to you. As they spoke, they prepared to leave. Suddenly, Shen Jingyan noticed something under a display rack. A piece of rope was lying there. He instinctively knelt down and picked it up. The institute had been researching restraint cables lately, which made him want to examine any rope. He saw in meticulous detail. This simple glance changed everything. He noticed something extraordinary. The weaving pattern of this rope was unique, unlike anything he had ever encountered. He turned to Li Jianxi. This rope. Captain Li, where was this rope purchased? It was used to tie up the criminal. As he spoke, he briefly recounted the events of yesterday. Shen Jingyan was surprised. So you're saying that criminal was caught by that young man?
Li Jianxi.
Following the topic, he told Shen Jingyan about my 3 trips in and out of the station. He detailed the story to Shen Jingyan. Then he said with a worried look, that kid Su-Yi is talented, but I'm also afraid other young people will follow his lead. That would be a disaster. Don't worry about it. People like him are rare geniuses. Others can't just copy him without the skill. I'll take this rope back to examine it. If he comes looking for you, tell him to contact me directly. Meanwhile, I checked the time after returning home. It was too late for a live stream, so I went straight to my workshop to study the rope I bought from the system. But even with the basic principles provided by the system, replicating it wasn't as simple as I imagined. I have a bad habit When I hit a wall, I dive in headfirst. Either I succeed, or I completely burn myself out. Otherwise, I simply cannot stop. For the next few days, I worked on the rope, forgetting to eat or sleep. Finally, after a dozen formula adjustments, I conquered the most grueling part, the materials. Then came the fitting, weaving, and the tedious coating process. Finally, I looked at the rope in my hand, identical to the one from the system. Every pore of my body felt a surge of relief. After a long yawn, I collapsed onto the sofa and slept like the dead. When I woke up, I finally opened my phone. I logged in and checked my DMs, and I was completely stunned. They were all telling me to take care of myself inside. Some people were sharing links. The strongest crafting streamers stream, handcrafted USD, successfully earned silver handcuffs. I shook my head helplessly and started the live stream. Holy crap. Host, you got out so fast. I thought you'd be locked up for at least 3 to 5 years. Tell us the truth. What was your previous job? I forgive you. You really don't seem like a decent person. Host, I'm in the US right now. How about you print some USD and send them to me? Let's go into business together. I looked at the comments with a smile. I didn't go in. I just filed a record with the police. I've been busy making some new things, so I didn't have time to stream. And for the record, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I don't do anything illegal. Just as the chat was heating up, a rocket donation suddenly soared across the screen. My eyes lit up. Thanks, big boss. Just give me the word. If I can do it, I won't hesitate. Streamer, I'm a drone enthusiast. Can you hand-build a drone? As long as you pull it off, I'll send you another rocket. Seeing this, my eyes lit up even more. This isn't just a big boss. He's a god of wealth. A god of wealth, not just a boss. What are your requirements? I see viewers call you the king of handcrafting. Just do your thing. As long as it flies, I'm satisfied. Don't worry, big boss. I've actually tinkered with drones before. I'll build you something compact and exquisite. Portable and easy to operate. Saying that, I put down my phone and rushed to my workshop. I pulled open the blueprint drawer and fished out a blueprint for a bionic drone. This thing was part of the starter pack, given by the system when I first bound to it. Simply put, it's a bird-like aircraft. Back then, I found it boring, so I made an infrared module to add some extra functionality. But I've been busy with other things since. The infrared module was done, but as for the bionic drone, I never got around to building it. Today's the perfect day to try. Excitedly, I took the blueprint downstairs, held it up to the camera and said, "Guys, today we're building a bionic drone. This drone looks like a bird, with all the essential drone features inside. And to keep things interesting, I've upgraded it, adding reconnaissance, attack, and stealth capabilities. The body is about 20 centimeters, resembling a woodpecker. These birds are common, making it easier to hide, and it's completely silent. Absolutely perfect." In the live stream, everyone saw the blueprint I displayed. Streamer, you're not just bragging, are you? Are you sure this is a drone? And this blueprint doesn't show any skill at all. The rocket boss looked at the blueprint in my hand and couldn't help but frown. The drawing was indeed a bit sloppy. It looked like a bird on the outside, but the internal structure was completely missing. Based on my years of experience with drones, I could almost be certain that this streamer was just using a gimmick for views. After all, if he were really that talented, he wouldn't be a streamer. He'd be serving the country at a research institute. So after a moment's thought, he sent a comment. "It's fine, streamer. As long as you make a drone that can fly, I'll be satisfied." Looking at the comment, I replied with a smile, "Don't worry, since I've accepted your gift, boss, I absolutely won't let you down." With that, I brought out my mini machine tool and officially started working. Soon, the body section was ready. Then, I assembled 2 linkage mechanisms in the wings, allowing the drone to simulate a bird's flight dynamics. I installed the motor and flight controller for tuning. The viewers watched the semi-finished product in my hand and were stunned when it actually took flight during tuning. Everyone was completely speechless. "Wait, streamer. You actually know your stuff?" I chuckled and dismantled a security camera from my house. Since this was a quick build, and I wanted everyone to see the finished product immediately, I had to scavenge some parts. This HD camera was also something I built before. I guarantee it's better than anything on the market. Naturally, no one in the chat objected. After all, if I were to build a camera from scratch on stream, when would the stream ever end? Meanwhile, inside the research institute, after Shin Jingyan brought the rope back to the lab, he intended to run a few simple tests, but he didn't expect this unremarkable rope, whether in terms of toughness or tensile strength, to produce such breathtaking data. The researchers said with excitement, "Deputy Director, where did this rope come from? These values are far superior to any data we've ever tested." A few days ago, I visited Captain Lee and his team. I saw this rope. They said a young man named Suyi brought it. I thought the weaving technique was just a bit unique. I didn't expect it to produce such incredible data. Let's keep testing. Let's see what its breaking point is. Everyone continued the test. After the tension was increased eightfold, the rope finally began to snap. Everyone present was beyond excited. Some were even moved to tears. There's hope for the arresting cable. Yes, the overall data for this rope is already very close to what we need for the arresting cable. If it were just a bit thicker, it would be perfect. For some time now, a cloud of gloom has hung over the entire research institute. Since the aircraft carrier was completed, a qualified arresting cable has been the institute's biggest challenge. But the US has imposed a technical blockade. They tried for a long time but couldn't figure it out. The researcher originally in charge of this technology had just made a breakthrough, but was murdered before it could be implemented. The entire institute has been holding its breath in frustration. After the excitement died down, everyone looked toward Shin Jingyan. Director, could you ask Captain Lee if he has Su Ye's contact information? To ask where he got this from. Shin Jingyan nodded. Just as he was about to call Li Jianxi, he suddenly thought of something the moment he took out his phone. Instead, he downloaded a live streaming app. Then he typed in the name Su Yi. Sure enough, he found him, and he was currently live. At this moment, in the stream, my drone is almost finished. For the sake of aesthetics, I specifically went to my neighbor's chicken coop and borrowed some feathers from a hen. I glued them onto the frame and dyed them green. Brothers, I can't get real bionic feathers right now, so we'll just make do with chicken feathers for now. In the live stream, the viewers all frowned. Host, this bionic drone of yours. If I squint, it almost looks the part. It's a total eyesore. Ha ha ha. Seriously. Is the design meant to kill the enemy with laughter? You're the king of handmaking, but this is just ridiculous. Seeing the roasting in the comments, I smiled nonchalantly. Don't be so impatient, brothers. I'm in a rush, alright? Alright. Let's take it for a spin first. Saying this, I picked up the controller and began operating the drone. Under the gaze of the viewers in the stream, the wings of this chicken-feathered drone slowly fluttered, flew in front of the camera, and performed a 360-degree spin. Meanwhile, I chuckled and explained, actually, this drone can be equipped with many more functions. If I installed some miniature bombs inside and flew it into the enemy camp during a war, that would be quite a spectacle. The viewers were amused by this. Brother Yi, do you find life too peaceful outside, that you're looking to go back to prison? But have you noticed? This drone is exactly as the host said. There's almost no sound at all. Right. I didn't hear anything either. Could it be that everything Brother Yi said before was true?
HMPH, impossible.
Isn't it just because we're far away? Maybe it's just because we're far away. Don't doubt me, everyone. Everything I'm saying is true. This thing is indeed silent. And I've added a bird simulator inside, which can mimic the movement patterns of birds. As I spoke, I continued controlling the drone. Although the bird's head turned a bit stiffly, it was enough to shock the brothers in the stream. Then, I demonstrated the infrared camera mode to the lens. Then, I shifted the topic. Oh, by the way, this steel woodpecker also has a self-powering mode, capable of quickly capturing solar and wind energy. No need to worry about battery life. Saying this, I sighed with regret. As for some of the mechanical movements, due to the limited time, this is the best I could do. If I had another month, I could make it much smoother. In the live stream, the crowd was completely stunned. They had a vague feeling that they were witnessing something extraordinary. One big spender even spammed 10 rockets in a row. He believed that once he got his hands on this drone, it would definitely trigger a storm in the drone community. Shin Jingyan, watching the stream from the Research Institute, was also completely frozen in shock. Silent ecological simulation, infinite endurance. Each one would be a massive achievement on its own. Yet they were applied so effortlessly by a young man, on a tiny little drone. Shin Jingyan's heart began to race. Originally, he thought about sending a message to ask about the source of that rope, but now it seemed the answer was already clear. He had to meet this person in person. At this point, my live stream was coming to an end. After recalling the drone, I successfully ended the stream. This was the first time since I started streaming that a stream had gone so smoothly. Happily, I took today's live stream video, did some simple editing, and posted it. Just as I was about to put down my phone, a recommendation popped up at the top of the screen. I opened it and was instantly dumbfounded. My video had actually been reposted abroad by viewers, and it had gone viral. But looking at the comments, I suddenly laughed in anger. A lot of Americans were actually calling it promoting violence. Many Americans were actually saying I was promoting violence, demanding that I get out of the US. I'm not even fucking in the US. How the hell am I supposed to get out? I shook my head and closed the app. I put down my phone and decided to go for a stroll. But as soon as I stepped out, I found that the village road had turned into a snack street. There were over a dozen stalls set up. I was so shocked I pulled one foot back. This is the fucking suburbs. Since when did a snack street appear here? Could it be that the ruins next to our village went viral? That shouldn't be it. That dump has been promoted for years and hasn't made a single ripple. I shook my head and stopped overthinking. Anyway, not having to order delivery is pretty great. Then, I excitedly rushed toward the snack street. Boss, 1 jianbing guazi, 2 eggs, plus sausage and pork loin, and wrap in some spicy strips. The boss nodded repeatedly and started making the pancake. Not only was the stall run down, but the boss also kept glancing at me, which left me completely confused. Suddenly, I realized this guy looked familiar. Boss, have we met before?
No, no.
I have a common face. Maybe someone you know looks like me. That's why I seem familiar. I didn't dwell on it. Took the shabby pancake and ate it while walking home. Once I left, the pancake boss breathed a sigh of relief. He was a rookie officer from the police station. A few days ago, their captain, Li Jianxi, formulated a plan, have them set up stalls in the suburbs to keep an eye on this kid. If there were any suspicious people or any unusual activity, they were to report it to superiors. If they performed well, they could become permanent officers. He wasn't the only one here. Even the station's cleaning lady and the security guard and rookie cops from the neighboring station were all deployed, posing as snack stall owners. You could say it was an all-out operation. Meanwhile, on a battlefield in the Middle East, leader, now is not the time for complaints. We must find a way to solve our weapon problem immediately, otherwise we'll be forced to surrender. Leader Hassan was fuming. Just then, a young soldier rushed in. Leader, I found a way to solve the weapon problem. Hearing this, Leader Hassan and Deputy General Salim both had their eyes light up. They asked excitedly, what way? The soldier handed the phone to them and played a video. This Longwa is teaching us how to make weapons. The production method is very simple. We can produce them ourselves. The process is detailed, and the steps are easy. We just need to change the materials, swap the ammo for real ones, and they can be used on the battlefield. Replace paper with steel, glue with welding. It's incredibly easy. I didn't expect those guys to be so efficient. In less than 2 days, they had churned out dozens of improvised Gatling guns, far better than the homemade scrap guns they had. I had absolutely no idea that because of a few of my videos, the situation in the Middle East is quietly changing. I've been busy researching new things from the system. Through these past few days of streaming, my handcrafting ability has leveled up again. More and more new gadgets are being unlocked, but they're all just technical blueprints. As long as I can successfully craft the finished product from the blueprints and keep increasing my crafting level, the system's tech rewards will become more generous, and random gift packs will drop, like that ultra-strong resilient rope from before. I took a look around and fixed my gaze on a big one. To be honest, a tank. I've always been crafting small gadgets. Now that I've unlocked such a beast, it's making me itch with excitement. I started preparing materials overnight, planning to give my bros a big surprise tomorrow. The next day, I started my stream as usual. Before I could even speak, the viewers in the chat started making wishes. Brother Yi, can you craft a 9-dragon Zenpalm? I'll send 5 spaceships. Brother Yi, please make me a beast head. I'll send you some premium SIGs. Stop fighting. I want a robot. The chat was chaotic, with comments flying across the screen. I raised my hand to calm them down and said, brothers, we're not doing small stuff today. I'm going to craft a tank for you guys. What do you think? The chat went silent for a moment. The next second, it was flooded with curses. After a while, everyone gradually calmed down. Wow. Do you even know what you're saying? I admit you're badass, but you can't brag this hard. That's a tank. Streamer, can you really build a tank? Even if you dare to, I wouldn't believe it. Seeing this, I quickly spoke up to correct them. Everyone, don't misunderstand. This is a handmade piece of art. It's not the same as traditional tank manufacturing. We can't go causing trouble for the authorities. I prepared the materials yesterday. Let's get started right now. As I said that, I rolled up my sleeves, just about to start, when I heard a knock at the door. Hearing that sound, I felt a bit triggered, but looking at the time, even if they were coming, it wouldn't be this fast. Thinking this, I trotted over and opened the door, only to see a man in military uniform and a middle-aged man in casual clothes. Behind them stood an old acquaintance, Li Jianxi. I instinctively took a step back. Although I didn't know what was happening, this setup felt like a summons to the afterlife. The viewers in the chat suddenly got excited. Streamer, looks like you're going back in. Streamer, can you really build a tank? If you dare build it, I wouldn't dare try it. You guys are too cruel. I bet. The streamer is reminiscing about all the bad things he's done. Ha ha ha. Indeed, just as the viewers thought, my life flashed before my eyes twice, yet I couldn't figure out what I'd done to deserve being caught by 2 different authorities. I swallowed hard and asked cautiously, who are you looking for?
Yan Comrade Suye.
There's no need to be nervous. I am Shin Jingyan, Deputy Director of the Longhua Research Institute, and this is Comrade Lu Zheng, who escorted me here. I wonder if we could go inside and have a chat? I pursed my lips and quickly welcomed all three of them in. Are you looking for me? Shen Jingyan stood in the yard, looked around, and seeing the phone I was streaming with, she asked, would it be convenient to turn off your stream now? I nodded repeatedly, walked over to the phone, and looking at the screaming comments, without even a moment to explain, I just shut down the stream. Seeing this, Shen Jingyan took a rope out of her handbag and said, I came here today specifically for this rope. If I'm not mistaken, you crafted this rope yourself, right? I hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Shen Jingyan breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. It's like this. Can you make this rope a bit thicker? Hearing this, I also breathed a huge sigh of relief. Just for this. You should have said so sooner. You almost scared me to death. Seeing my reaction, Shen Jingyan looked delighted and began explaining the purpose of the rope. I was left speechless. Aircraft carrier arrestor cables. Uncle Lu, you're not kidding, right? Before Shen Jingyan could answer, Li Jianxi spoke up. You brat. What nonsense are you talking? Do you think Deputy Director Shen came all this way just to play a joke on you? I scratched my head, saying awkwardly, I was just caught off guard. Right, you said you wanted a thicker one, right? I still have some of the materials from last time. I'll get it done for you right now. Shen Jingyan nodded repeatedly in excitement. He didn't expect it to go so smoothly. He immediately promised. Good, very good. If the rope meets the standards, the bonuses and honors will certainly be yours. I waved my hand, saying nonchalantly, it's a small thing, just making a rope. Then I led Shen Jingyan and the others into the workshop. I took out the twisting machine and prepared to weave. Shen Jingyan hesitated for a moment, asking in a low voice, young man, can I record a video? Of course you can. It's just weaving a rope, not like it's some big secret. Besides, while the weaving technique is special, it's not actually that difficult. But the material, that's what really gave me a headache. It took me nearly a week to figure it out. As I worked with my hands, I kept complaining, not noticing anything unusual at all. I was completely unaware that the look in Shen Jingyan's eyes was gradually becoming intense. The weaving process didn't seem hard to me. It's just that since Shen Jingyan wanted it thicker, the weaving was a bit slower. Before long, a 50 centimeters rope was finished. Shen Jingyan held the rope and said excitedly, young man, thank you for your hard work. I'll take this rope back for testing first. I'll notify you once the data is out. You've really done us a huge favor. No problem. If there's anything else you need, just let me know. Shen Jingyan carefully packed the rope away, then shifted the topic. I saw you make a drone on your live stream yesterday. I wonder if I could take a look at it? Puzzled. From the delivery box, I took out the drone that was ready to be shipped. It's just an ugly little drone. Nothing much to see. Shen Jingyan examined the drone from all angles. Even Lu Zheng, who had been silent, leaned in. After a long pause, Shen Jingyan asked, are all those functions from yesterday actually achievable? Of course, but after saying that I rubbed my nose, saying awkwardly, it's just that my current skill level isn't high enough, so some of the more powerful functions aren't possible yet. I was thinking of crafting a sensing module, which would allow for automatic obstacle avoidance, route planning, and target identification. If I could add a miniature attack module, it would be perfect. Saying this, I shook my head with regret, feeling it was a shame. Beside me, Shen Jingyan and Lu Zheng were already speechless. The look in Lu Zheng's eyes kept shifting. A talent like this must be brought to headquarters. Shen Jingyan stared at the drone with burning eyes. The exterior might look crude, but the internal operating module, the infrared module, and the wireless endurance principles are all treasures. If this bionic drone were deployed on the battlefield, it would definitely be a game changer. Hearing this, my heart skipped a beat. Deployed on the battlefield. The subtext was that the thing had to be handed over. Thinking of this, I quickly spoke up. Director Shen, this thing was custom ordered by my top donor. You can't just take it. Shen Jingyan stepped forward, patted my shoulder. Young man, we'll handle the donor for you. The value of this thing far exceeds those rocket gifts. I thought about it, waved my hand and said, no way. I've already promised this one to someone. If you're interested, I'll give you the blueprints, and you can make one yourselves. With that, I turned and went back inside, pulling a stack of detailed engineering blueprints from the drawer. There were also several concepts inside, things I wanted to build but hadn't succeeded in yet. Shen Jingyan took the blueprints and flipped through them. As he saw the complex mechanical diagrams, his breathing involuntarily quickened. The final drone had no propellers, only bionic wings that fluttered. Compared to this blueprint, 35 centimeters, the previous drone tubes were mere child's play. The previous drones were simply child's play. He looked up, his voice trembling. Did you design this? Something like that. It's an upgraded version. But my resources are limited. Too many materials are restricted. I can't get my hands on them. You have plenty of materials, so it should be built in no time.
Yan komrade suye.
This blueprint is of critical importance. On behalf of the Institute, I offer my sincerest gratitude. Rest assured, we won't just seize this, and you will be rewarded fully for your work. This sudden outpouring of respect left me feeling quite overwhelmed. It's fine, really. Just let me see it once it's finished. Shen Jingyan didn't dwell on it any further. More words now would be nothing but empty promises. Once the prototype is complete, the higher-ups won't let such a talent go unrewarded. Tucking the documents into his bag, he said, I'm heading back for testing immediately. As soon as the data is in, you'll be the first to know. With that, he hurried into the military jeep and drove off, rushing back to start the tests. In the car, Shen Jingyan traced the blueprint, his expression grim. Lu Zheng, once you return, arrange secret protection for Su Yi immediately. I'm going to report this to the superiors now.